turn your phones on silent or vibrate or turn them off.
Or you can turn them up. I think it'd be rude to miss a call, you know? Can I please get another hand for Jim Green, everybody? And Marcia, back there at the table. Thank you guys for hosting this event. Thank you for having me. I would like to say, although I was educated at Columbia University School of Journalism, and I am a blogger for the Huffington Post, I am the token libertarian. So I got to put up with a lot of guff over there. We also want to recognize, as Jim mentioned, I was a candidate. I ran for mayor of my hometown when I was 24. I also ran for U.S. Congress when I was 27. And so we wanted to take a moment to recognize, do we have any candidates in the crowd tonight? Any crowd? Yeah, stand up. Let's give them a hand, everybody. They're running for office, trying to get into Jim's running for city council. Talk to him after. That's a big step. You know, it's one thing to talk about things, but it's another entirely different step to actually get involved in running for office. So we appreciate you guys' work. Also, we want to take a moment, and we have a lot of people from the political party that I'm affiliated with, the Libertarian Party, Libertarian Party of Ohio guys. Can you guys stand up? And so give them a hand. We are here. These are the people. Feel free to talk to these folks after the meeting so you can find out more. We are the alternative. We are the alternative in 2014. If you don't like a certain Republican governor and you don't want to support the Democrats, there is an option, and I'm very excited that you guys get to meet that option tonight. And you're going to meet a couple of them. The Liberty Movement is alive and well. I don't know if you guys can tell. I mean, I think I'm the oldest person here tonight. But, I don't know if you can tell, but the Liberty Movement is expanding to the younger generation, the millennial generation, the generation I'm part of, and that's a very exciting thing. It's an exciting thing that we can all relate to, that we all love liberty, we all love freedom, and we all want to be responsible for our own lives. And it's something that's growing. And the Libertarian Party in Ohio, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. The Libertarian Party started in 1971 after Nixon got rid of the gold standard. He brought in the EPA. He's doing a lot of things that a conservative shouldn't do, and that's I think that's something that we see a lot of today, and that's how the Libertarian Party got started. And in 1972, they actually got an electoral vote, their first electoral vote from a disenfranchised elector, and they're one of the first third parties, in recent history at least get an electoral vote. I'm sure you guys all know about the Electoral College and how that works, and that's that's keeping a lot of alternative parties out of office, unfortunately. The Libertarian Party in Ohio has had to sue the Secretary of State of Republicans and Democrats multiple times to remain on the ballot as a political party. They've had to sue for equal ballot access, and that's something that these guys can talk to you about. It's been a struggle, and yet next year we are going to have I believe candidates on all the statewide ballots, everybody. So you'll have an alternative for all the different offices statewide, and hopefully some local as well. So before I get too long-winded, I just wanted to mention there is a bad word that Jim told me not to mention tonight. It's a K word. John Kasich, ladies and gentlemen. John Kasich. Yeah, who? That's a good one. I think that's why we're all here. John Kasich he's done a very interesting, he's made a lot of people angry on the left and the right. And it's been a very interesting thing to watch as I've been in New York for the past 4 years, going to school and working there, watching my home state. This man has embraced Obamacare. I believe the story is God came to him in a dream. Is that the latest? I believe that's what I read.
Satan.
What's that?
It was Satan, yeah.
Oh, it was Satan. Okay, all right. He was holding a golf club, and he looked like John Boehner. That's what it was. We all know that. They went golfing together, along with Obama. That's how these things work. So I think a lot of people in the state are looking for an alternative, and a lot of people don't know that they have an alternative. But that's why we wanted to bring you guys here today. And we want you guys to meet these alternatives. And we're very excited about it because the Libertarian Party is actually, in Ohio particularly, the Libertarian Party of Ohio is one of the best alternative parties in the nation right now. They are the best run, one of the best respected in the nation. And next year, we're putting up some candidates for office, particularly governor, lieutenant governor, that we think are some of the best we've ever had. So are you guys ready to meet them?
Yeah.
Meet them, these folks? All right. Let's do this. I'm very excited to introduce this First Lady. She is our lieutenant governor candidate for 2014 for the Libertarian Party. I first met her 3 years ago when I was running for U.S. Congress. I was 26 when I was getting all my signatures, and she contacted me and basically took me around Delaware to every single shop down Main Street, introduced me to every single person who owns each shop, explained the history that she has with them, and she got them to sign my petition so I could get on the ballot. She's so well connected. She's a lovely lady. She lives with her 2 daughters, Cece and Cozy, on the Olentangy River in Stratford, Ohio. She's lived there for nearly 40 years, been a part of that community. She put herself through college by working at UPS. She was running the church choir, and she also got scholarships through the Miss America pageant system, ladies and gentlemen. So she also apparently won a car when she was crowned Miss New Hampshire in 1988. I don't know how that works, but all right. What, hemisphere? Oh yeah, I'm an idiot. That gave her an opportunity to sing for troops far away in Guam for the USO. She graduated from the Ohio State University in 1992. She was married a few years later and then worked as a stay-at-home mom. She was involved in the Pleasure Guild, the Childhood League, and even founded a Presbyterian church, which just celebrated its 10th year anniversary. Sherry conceived and organized a fundraiser gala called Open Your Hearts just 5 weeks after the horrible Indonesian tsunami, and she raised $50,000 for the Salvation Army and the relief efforts there. A few weeks after Sherry gave this $50,000 check to the Salvation Army, Prince Harry was on the cover of USA Today for raising $17,000 for the same cause. So I think Sherry did more work than Prince Harry, I think it's safe to say. Following her political awakening in 2006, which I believe she'll talk about, she began publishing the Liberty Voice newspaper. And I actually had the pleasure for writing for that as well. It was a very, very nice privilege to do so. It was actually printed more than 500,000 copies that were circulated around the central Ohio area. Because Sherry really believes that before you can change the political culture and fight for liberty, you have to change the minds of the people. And you have to enlighten people person to person. And she's a very good person to do this, and we're very excited to have her. Please welcome Ms. Sherry Clark.
Thank you so much, Travis. You know, I've always hated exaggerating my own accomplishments, so I'm just so glad that you were able to do that for me. Thank you so much for being here. What an impressive crowd for Liberty. I'm just so happy for you and the dedication that you show by having been here. I assume many of you were here 4 years ago when this started. Is that right? Yeah. That's really impressive. I'm happy for you. What an accomplishment. I was getting started with my day, drinking my morning coffee, and I was on Facebook, as I always swear that I'm going to be on just for a minute, but I saw the statistic that there were 24 astronauts who have come from the state of Ohio. And my question is, what is it about our state that makes people want to flee the earth? But more pertinently for our cause, what is it about Ohio that makes industry want to not only flee our state, but our country?
Taxes.
Right. I am certain that there are many in this room who have asked that very question and have likely come up with a similar question that is centered around the core that our government is out of control. But Was it the chicken or was it the egg that came first? In other words, is it the out-of-control government or the two-party system that created it that we as liberty lovers should emphasize? Good question. The best illustration that I could think of was of a story I heard about a genie who met a libertarian and offered to grant this libertarian one wish. The libertarian had been working for liberty tirelessly for a long time. And so he said, you know, I've always loved Hawaii. But ever since 9/11, you know, I just can't stand those airport checkpoints. And so I don't want to fly there. I get seasick, so I don't want to ride on a boat. Is there any way you could build a highway from here to Hawaii? The genie said, well, you know, you got to think about a few things here. I mean, first of all, you might be crazy because think of how deep those pilings need to go into the Pacific Ocean. Think of all the yards and billions of yards of concrete and asphalt that it would take to lay out a 2,000-mile road from here to Hawaii. But aside from all that, think of all the mountains of paperwork it would take to get it approved through the EPA. So the libertarian shrugged and said, okay then, can you just tell me why the American people keep electing someone from either one of the two parties and neither one of them actually represent our interests? Genie said, all right, one lane or two. So again, back to the question. Do we as liberty lovers emphasize that out-of-control government or the two-party system that sustains it? I believe that Americans are waking up from the dream that they have a choice. The essential ingredient to freedom is choice. But if there is really only big government on the ballot, represented by both parties, there is no choice. On one hand, you have the elephants who have grown so big that they fill up the proverbial room. And the other choice are the donkeys who deserve their euphemism because they can't even see the humor in the line, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Do they actually believe that more government is going to solve our problems? Obamacare? That's like giving a brain surgeon a $300 monkey wrench and saying, yeah, that should fix it. I believe libertarians are the only hope that Ohio has for a true opposition party. The only choice for giving people hope. And therefore, we are the only hope to get this government back under control. Now, here in Ohio, libertarians use the Statue of Liberty as our icon, and appropriately so. Give us you're tired of too many government regulations. You're poor from paying too many taxes. You're huddled masses yearning to be free from the rampant, power-hungry vultures we called our government who has long since thrown off the binding rules of our Constitution, though each of those unconstitutional statutes were passed by our representatives, who almost without exception came from one of those two parties, and who without exception all swore to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States. Lesser known is the libertarian mascot, the porcupine. It truly symbolizes what we believe in. It doesn't throw its quills, as some people believe. It is a purely defensive animal. But if you invade its space, you will remember that encounter. As the publisher of the Liberty Voice, I also love the symbol of the quill itself, because I have always been taught that the best defense begins with a good offense. Before we can exercise our right to bear arms and defend ourselves with any kind of arm whatsoever, let us first use the power of the quill, the power of the pen, the power of the words of liberty. Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there are few who cannot see that there is something terribly wrong with our country. In distributing my newspaper, The Liberty Voice, I once had an encounter with a local law enforcement officer. He was the chief of police of a local municipality, and he had confiscated my newspaper box, which I had just placed on a public sidewalk in a public park, which just so happened to be just outside of his office. He informed me that I needed a permit to place my newspaper box in that location. I asked him if it impeded pedestrian traffic. He admitted it did not. I informed him that I most certainly did not need a permit, and if he was so certain that I did need one, that he should show me the unconstitutional statute that stated that. Well, he couldn't, and he wouldn't do that. I insisted that he issue a citation for my supposed offense so that I could stand trial in a court of law to show me the law again. Again, he wouldn't. So I told him to put my newspaper back where he found it. He responded with a question. If I left my bicycle on that public sidewalk, in that public park, just outside his office, did he not have the right to impound it? I said, I don't remember bicycles being protected by the Constitution, but I do know that the press is protected by the First Amendment.
Amen.
My friends, what good are God-given rights if we must first bow down to the idol we created called our government for permission to exercise those God-given rights?
Hear, hear.
The time is short, but we are coming into the time of harvest. Our ground is fertile. people are waking up. They know there is something terribly wrong. Look around the room and remember, only a few Ohio farmers produce enough food for millions of their fellow Ohioans, and their bins spill out enough bounty to feed millions more around the world. A great man, a very great man, once said, "The harvest is plenty, but the workers are few." How right he was, and still is, over 2,000 years later. Fellow workers, sometimes it may seem like you are dropping a pebble into an endless body of still water. But please remember that someday that small ripple will come back to you